everyone, it's Sally with the Polka Dot Life. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States, specifically Huntsville, Alabama. I am so glad that you joined me today. I appreciate you taking some of the time out of your day to take a look at my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I would ask that you would hit that red subscribe button below so that I can appear in your feed every time I upload a video. Remember that all of the measurements for today's card are going to be over on my blog at thepolkadotlife.com. So just sit back, enjoy the video and the creative process, and then you can hop on over to my blog post. You'll find that link in the description box below. Let's go to the craft desk and get started. The colors that we were assigned for the challenge this month were Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, and Early Espresso. Now, I do like all of these colors, but I really don't like them together. And I'm not a real big purple person, so it was an extra challenge for me. I will admit that. So let's move these out of the way. We have a little bit of stamping to do. So I am going to put this down. We're not going to be super messy, but we might go off a little bit, and I want to protect our surface. For the card we're going to make on camera together, we are using the Flowers of Friendship stamp set, and I'm just inking up this little row of flowers. And I am not going to be super particular, but I'm just going to kind of line the edge of the stamp up with that next row, and I am just kind of going diagonally. We're kind of just creating our own designer series paper. And we're going to be coloring these. So I want this Granny Apple Green ink to get nice and dry before we start that. I know that these colors, the likely thing to do with it might be to do a Halloween card, but I just kind of wasn't in the mood for that. Okay, we are just going to finish that right up. And we are going to just kind of move this over to the side for right now. I want this to get really good and dry. And then next, let's do our sentiment. And I'm using many thanks from all of us is the greeting I'm using. And I'm just going to use the scrap. And then I am going to die cut this out. And to save a little time, I have done that already. And this is from the Tasteful Labels dies. Actually, I do not use the Gorgeous Grape on our card, so we're done with our ink. Unless you choose to put an inside greeting. I did not do that for my card. We are using a thick, basic white cardstock. Just a standard one. It could be cut to be, you know, either the regular style or a hot dog style. If you like it that way, it wouldn't matter. I am just going to use this same piece of grid paper, and I cut out earlier a piece of regular basic white in this rectangle dot with the rectangle die, and I have stamped this big image from the Flowers of Friendship on it. And today we are going to be coloring with colored pencils. Now I know I don't use colored pencils very often, but I do enjoy them, and they happen to come in both the colors. There's no blend in Gorgeous Grape. I could have used my water painter or just picked some ink up with my blender pen, but I thought this gave a pretty look, and so let's go with that. I am going to go a little heavier here on the veins of our flower. Now, of course, you can just color and leave it as is, but it kind of gives it a nice effect if you either blend it with your water painter or your blender pen. And that's what we're going to use today is the blender pen. And I am just going in and filling in with this. Now, I stamped this with Early Espresso. I just thought since we were using that for our sentiment and whatnot, oh no, I did not mean to do that. This is probably not a great choice, but let's just see if we can lighten that. I think we can go over it. This is not a very good quality eraser, but I think that we can make this work. There we go, little crafting boo-boo on the fly. If not, I could always put a gem or something like that over that if we needed to. Just try to finish it. If you get it done and you don't like it, then certainly go back and do it again. This is just not a big deal to color this little bit in. But I just want to show you that, you know, sometimes you can just work around. So let's color that in pretty deep there. This is what I do when I talk and craft. And my pencil is a little more on the dull side, so I'm getting heavier strokes, but maybe for this it's kind of working today. So I am just going to take this then and go lightly to just give it some background color. We are good to have been using this Early Espresso, but it's not going to take a lot of digging and blending and that sort of thing to drag that color out. And you run the risk of pulling some of that Early Espresso out. That's why I went ahead and left this one dry quite a bit before I started filming. And like I say, that one's just going to be a little more shaded than the others, but I think it's going to be fine. The person you're going to send this to is probably never going to know. Now, first thing you want to do is take your blender pen and make sure that it is clean from whatever you used it for. You can use whichever side that you want to first, but I would start with the green because it is your lighter color. And, you know, kind of take things and move it as you need it to move so you can see well, so you can blend it from, you know, pull the color to where you're going, where you want it to go. And see, now that kind of lightened that brown a little bit. So we're just going to make sure that's clean, and we're just going to try to stay out of that Early Espresso. We're just going to use a very light touch. But the magic does happen when you use this blender pen. It's a fun thing. If you have an older child or a tween, a nice watercoloring project with these good pencils is a great project for them. So we're just going to clean this off again. Let's just go here first, get it over with. And we can let that dry even and go back over it again. But we're going to make sure that we don't have any of that brown on our pen. And you can pull yours out as far as you want. I kind of like a little of that white space. Super pretty. And you know, might just leave that dark. I won't even pull on that with the blender pen. We're just going to kind of cover that up. But like I say, it doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, and it's always going to be magnified here on the camera. Once this gets good and dry, I don't think that you'll even notice it. But I could always just put a gem or a pearl somewhere on these flowers and it would cover it up. going to move that out of the way. And I'm going to bring in this piece that we colored. And you kind of want to think of which way you want it to go in your card. It's going to get covered up. You have this layer here. I don't know that I like, I mean, that looks really straight, and I'm not sure I want that. And this is going to be the portion that shows the most, but that one looks a little bit bare. So just kind of pick which one you like the best. I am going to go ahead and use that. We're going to be putting some embellishment on this. That's probably going to cover up some of this straight line. But I'm just going in and putting this purple in like a plus sign right across here. And you just kind of have to guess about how much of this is going to get covered. I'd say about 2 flowers around. And then that I probably didn't even need to color. I just got crazy coloring there. I will be back after I get these colored in. Okay, I think that is all of those that I need to color in. We're just going to come back in here with this blender pencil and do the same process. And I will come right back after I get all of these done. Okay, we are finished with our coloring of our little flowers. Now that green ink, that Granny Apple green ink doesn't pool or create an issue like the brown makes it muddy. If it ran a little bit, it really doesn't show. So that's a good thing. While our grid paper is out, I'm going to take this piece of Early Espresso. And these measurements are all going to be on my blog, but they're super easy. This is just like an inch, and this is 2 inches. But we can just kind of play with however much we want to show. I'm going to be using a couple different kinds of adhesives today. This is our multi-purpose glue, which I'm sure if you've watched me before, you have seen this. I mean, and it's just liquid glue, and it's a good multi-purpose glue for around your home. If you're needing a glue, this is a good one to get. This grid paper, even though I might not go like a full one of these squares, maybe if I just do it in the middle and I keep that nice and straight and just tap the ends so the ends are straight, then it should make the rest of this straight. I am going to switch to my Stampin' seal. Just like that other for having that little wiggle room. And I'm just going to bring this over to the edge of my card. And I just want a small piece of white there too. So I'm going to tap it this way because apparently I've gotten this a little bit long. And I want to be able to cut it from the bottom, not the top of my card. That way if something goes wrong, you are a whole lot less apt to notice it. My snips are much sharper, but I wanted that long blade to kind of go across there. So we have that there. And let's adhere these layers together. Learning to love my tape runner. It just works easier if you kind of can hook onto a little sticky part that's already down and then start rolling from there. It will go a lot smoother. And just even with putting that green behind there, it brightens that up. You really can't even notice that brown hue to this part. think by doing it this way, this is slid over a little bit more. You'll see on my first example. I do like this better, and it showcases this paper a little bit more. I wanted to put that Early Espresso on to be legal for the challenge, but I don't really love it on this card. But we do these challenges to kind of learn and grow, see what works, see what doesn't work. That is why our team leader assigns it to us. And then I'm just going to center this a little bit in the card as best I can. Like I say, I do want some of this showing over here, but I think I like more of an edge than a white edge than what I had on my other card. Okay, and then we have our sentiment, which I'm also going to put some dimensionals behind. Just a few though. We don't want things to get too thick. And then I'm just going to put this on here, pretty much cover up that first leaf. And you kind of want to just use this as a center point, and doesn't have to be exactly centered because it's not straight. That stem isn't a straight stem, but that kind of gives you a little place to put that in. I had mentioned that I might put an embellishment up here, but I forgot. I changed my mind and had put it down lower. I just decided it was a little bit too heavy for the top. I have our glue dots, our mini glue dots. And I'm just going to put this on here and just kind of bend it down. That's the great thing about glue dots. And you can put as many glue dots as you feel you need to secure your ribbon. Now I had to, stay in the colors of my challenge, so I'm using this sheer Gorgeous Grape ribbon, and I don't use it very often because, like I say, I'm not a super big purple person. And I think it's one of those things that's like coconut. You either like to eat it or you don't. There's really not an in-between. I think purple's the same way. You are either a purple person or you are not. And I have a couple friends, actually, that purple is their favorite color. And you can put these tails kind of however you want them to go. I think I kind of like mine tucked up in under here a little bit. So if you need to take another glue dot, you take control of your ribbon. Don't have it taking control of you. And we're just going to tuck this up under here. We use our tools that we have. And then that just guides that up under there a lot better. And it also just helps it keep it on your card a little bit better. If you're just hand delivering a card, then you don't have to worry about it. But, if you're putting it through the postal system, it's an automated process for the most part. And, they just have to be able to hold up a little bit. Just gonna cut these tails a little bit shorter because I don't want them to fray. This really isn't a fraying ribbon, but if you kind of cut it too much of a wide angle, it can turn a little bit on you. So there. I will probably make this card again, this layout, just with different colors. I just probably will sub out different colors. We have some beautiful designer series paper that would look wonderful here. And then I also had done an envelope with some of the other stamps, and I think it's real pretty too. Like I say, I don't know why I don't use my watercolor pencils more often, but I do love them, and I love the color after you use the blender pen. It just, like I say, it's a magical kind of thing, and I like the way that it just smooths those lines out. It's not like the colored pencils that our children get for 25 cents for their backpack or whatever. These are totally different. And if you tried to do this with a lesser type of a watercolor pencil, you would definitely know. So this was actually my second card. This was the first one like this that I made. So pretty much the same. I just, like I say, I just made this a little slimmer. I like that better. This had a little slimmer of a margin, and so I think I like this one a lot better. The card where I started, I don't hate it, but it might not be my favorite one either. Again, I like the layout, and I would like a little more freedom to do something with it. But I like this stamp set, the Elegantly Said, and I just used that big corner piece and just did all around there. And then this is the time-worn type, I believe is what it's called, embossing folder. And then I just used that punch from the Elegantly Said bundle and put my Early Espresso on, barely enough to make it legal, and this purple. I think that if I could take this off and do a monochromatic card, I would love it. So again, we're learning as we do our color challenges, and I would extend this challenge to you. And if you make a card, put it in the comment on my Facebook page under this post. I would love to see what you have made. I'd love your opinion on what you think of this color combination. Like I say, it's not my favorite, but it certainly goes to show you that you can make something pretty out of something that you really don't expect to. So you might just have to spend some time with it, but it does stretch us and grow our creativity, which is the whole point of the challenge. As always, remember to be kind, send a card, and do something creative. Bye-bye.